Welcome back to The Health Hunt, a human, humble, and sometimes surprisingly fiber-focused exploration of how to better understand our health. Today, we're continuing our conversation with Michelle Fletcher, founder of the Holistic Business Network, wellness educator, and passionate advocate for helping people make healthier choices in realistic and sustainable ways. If you missed part 1, which was episode 31 of this podcast, we talked about plant-based eating, processed foods, nutrition trends, smoothies, protein, sugar, and why there may not be a one-size-fits-all approach to healthy eating. Michelle also shared her journey from career in IT to becoming a leader in the wellness space and building a community dedicated to helping holistic practitioners and health-conscious individuals connect and thrive. In this episode, we shift into some of the topics that we're especially passionate about here on The Health Hunt, including fiber, colon health, metabolic health, blood sugar regulation, sleep, stress, movement, and the simple habits that can have an outsized impact on long-term health. We also explore holistic wellness, the importance of community and connection, and why taking care of your health isn't always about doing more. As always, the Health Hunt podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. We are absolutely not medical professionals, and nothing shared in this episode should be considered medical advice. Always consult your healthcare provider before making changes to your health routine. Now, let's get into part 2 of our conversation with Michelle Fletcher. So we're going to switch gears a little bit and move on to another topic. And I know it's a topic that you are passionate about, but also it's something that we talked about in a recent episode of the podcast, and that's fiber. And we talked actually in a couple episodes. So we just did an episode on colon health and colonoscopies. And so we wanted to address things that are good for your colon. So I talked briefly about fiber, but I'd like you from an expert perspective to get a little bit more into it. So at a very basic level, how much fiber should men and women be getting daily? And I'm assuming there's a difference, but if there's not, you can correct me.
On a basic level, we should definitely be getting over 30 grams. And I believe they say most Americans get like about maybe 12 grams of fiber a day. If you want to take it next level, I believe you should be like consuming over 40 grams. So if you were eating a lot of plant foods, the foods I mentioned at the beginning of our conversation, all those foods contain a lot of fiber. But because we're not eating as many of them, it seems to be harder for a lot of people to get that fiber. And fiber, along with the fat and the protein, those are all things that help us function like so much better. And I'm saying fiber from like real food because we can buy fiber, like Metamucil and those type of things. You can buy things like that to help move things along in the colon. But you can also do it naturally if you're eating high fibrous foods. And like fruit and vegetables are such a great description of that because the fruit will have the water, it will have the fiber, and it will have a lot of nutrients that your body will help to flush the things that's going on in your colon. So when people go on these like juice cleanses, it's good, but then they're missing a lot of the fiber that can also help to slough the things that are sitting in our colon for who knows how long out of there also. So fiber is such a key part of our diets that in this country, I think we've moved so far from because we have a lot of processed foods. And it's not just this country, honestly. It's countries all over the world because when I travel, I see that way too many other countries I travel to have now gotten the American diet. Like they have so many of the American foods. I'm from England, and when I lived in England, the small town I was from, we did not have McDonald's. We didn't have like a lot of fast food. We had fish and chips, but we didn't have like these big franchises. And when I went back, the last time we had fast food we had KFC and McDonald's, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's just infiltrated everywhere. And then when I go to the Caribbean, that's the same thing. So you see how this lifestyle is now permeating all over the world. And so not only do we have a lot of health issues here, but they're growing a lot in these other countries too, which would have been considered more of the healthier countries. So fiber is a big part of that. Like a lot of these fast food places have no fiber in their foods at all. Like there's barely any fiber in any of those foods. And it's just another thing to really keep top of mind in order to have good health, right?
Yeah. Okay. So, like, let's assume someone's getting their 8 to 13 servings. So, presumably, that's going to give them enough fiber. So, what if they're working their way up to that? Are there certain foods, if their diet is light in fiber and other sources, are there maybe some foods that they should prioritize if they're not at that 8 to 13 serving?
Yeah, and I'm very empathetic to people making changes because I know how hard it is to make changes. I'm someone I can adjust quickly, but I know it's not that easy for a lot of people because I've health coached hundreds of people. So I know I like to guide people slowly into making these changes. So starting with like one thing, I usually say start with this one fruit or one vegetable that you know you like to consume. Each fruit and vegetable has different levels of fiber. So, and then you also have to be mindful of what a serving is for each variety of things. So like berries, we would say a cup of berries because that is like a serving. Or if you're salad, a cup of salad. But then like for an apple, apple, medium-sized orange, we know apples have a lot of fiber in them naturally. Nuts have,
Yeah.
some good fiber that get things moving. Seeds also like, pumpkin seeds. So beans are amazing.
I was just gonna ask because I'll eat like I'll roast a bowl of chickpeas and I'll make it and then I'll have some eggs on top. It's a weird concoction, but this is a thing I do.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, so it's a bowl. So like avocado. So I roast them. I just bought a new air fryer, so I'm doing them there now. But so I roast the can. I think the can maybe is too much because we tested we wore continuous glucose monitors and mine did not like my chickpea lunch. Even when I ate it with 2 eggs and avocados and some other things, it still
Really?
caused more of a spike than I wanted to see. So I'm a little mindful of that, but still, that's a meal that I enjoy. So yeah, tell us more about the beans.
Yeah, like black beans, lentils, kidney beans, chickpeas. I'm not sure how much chickpeas has against those other ones, but the lentils and the kidney beans and the black beans are very high in fiber, at least 7 or 8 grams of fiber a serving, which is great. With that one serving, you're getting a lot of fiber just from those beans. So beans are a great introduction. If you don't even like them, maybe you can blend them out and still add it into whatever you're eating. Yeah, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains. Grains also have, like, if you're getting grains that haven't been processed. A lot of the grains we get today have been processed, but if you can
Hmm.
get grains that have not been processed, then they're pretty fibrous too. So those are like the 5 key ones that I would recommend people add in.
Okay, so we talked a lot about the importance of fiber, but I realized that for people listening, I didn't ask you about why fiber is important. And I mentioned that we talked about it in terms of colon health, but is there sort of a wider range of things that the fiber is doing or why it's needed and why it's such a problem when it's deficient?
Yeah, so fiber is also key to your insulin levels. So we really want our insulin levels to be pretty balanced because metabolic health is the root of most of all health issues. When when you look at the root of why people have diabetes or cardiovascular issues or things like PCOS or so many cancer, any of those things, the root of all of it is your metabolic health. So fiber plays a role in that because the more fiber you're consuming with whatever you're eating helps to keep your insulin levels more level. Like it's helping you not to spike as much, which is putting a lot of extra stress on your body if your insulin levels are spiking and you're becoming more sensitive. So that is one of the key reasons you want to consume more fiber. Another is your colon health. Laxatives are such a moneymaker for the companies that make them because so many people need laxatives to go to the bathroom. And so being able to consume fiber, you can avoid those laxatives, which actually you're going to have some side effects from that eventually if you're consuming them long term. I have people that I worked with where they had special needs children. And so a lot of times they would have to give them laxatives. But adding in more of the plant foods they were able to get their bodies to function without depending on the laxatives. So between the colon health and your metabolic health, those are 2 key reasons why you would want to consume more fiber. to avoid other issues down the line.
Those are good ones. I just want to, because we talked about metabolic health and glucose. So episode 4 of this podcast, if people are new, we talked all about glucose. And so if you're interested in this discussion and want to learn a little bit more about some of the things that we're mentioning, we recommend that you go back and listen to that. I also mentioned to you that Dan and I did an experiment with continuous glucose monitors. And so we actually did an episode where we put them on, and I had never done it before. So I was freaked out, and then I felt nothing. And then we also talked about the experience of monitoring it using apps and things like that and what we found. So again, if anyone is interested in those conversations, we have some episodes on it.
I also feel like I've been to the doctor, traditional or otherwise functional integrative, and one of the top questions they used to always ask traditional medicine is like, do you smoke cigarettes? They don't, of course they still ask that, but a lot of people don't smoke anymore. But one of the things they have been asking more recently in all the appointments I've been going to is, how much fiber do you get? And it's been like a top line question. And to your point, Michelle, and just generally, there's a reason why this is so important. And I really urge, which is the point of this podcast, our listeners to take a deeper dive into fiber. If you have any questions, there's Michelle, there's us for resources, and just to understand what your body should be doing, and talk to people that you trust and how they're your health practitioners, and learn more about it to be getting these daily amounts.
Yeah, and I think from a habit forming perspective, there is something impactful about having a why. So when you understand what it's doing in your body on a positive side, or what the consequences are on the negative side, it sometimes helps you change your thought process, which allows you to change your behavior. And like you mentioned, you can start with one food. You don't have to go to 8 to 13 servings. We're talking about building small habits. Once you get past that, it becomes a little bit easier. So this is like a really important discussion. I'm going to do one last question, because is there too much of a good thing? Is there a point where you're just getting way too much fiber? And I kind of know some of the answer of this. What happens? I'm assuming that there's some sort of happy medium, but maybe walk us through that.
No, I do think there's definitely too much of a good thing. I have had friends of mine that did like a raw vegan, I forgot how long they were doing it. They ended up in the hospital. Their colon was like impacted because it was just too much all at once for their colon to handle. So we have to think like our colon is kind of used to our habits. And so the way it's digesting is from what it's used to knowing, but then you're introducing something and then slamming it for like 30 days. And so even though she was consuming really good foods, it was too much for her to handle, and she ended up in the hospital. And she was in there for days. So being mindful of slowly introducing things into your system, you have to be mindful of that. Don't go gun-ho like on certain things. I like to take my time. My husband, he goes bonkers. He's either 0 or 150. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So just be mindful not to be overzealous when you're starting something new, because it could possibly hurt you, even though it's something good that you're starting.
Dan, we haven't put out any new t-shirt ideas recently, but I think there's a retrain your colon t-shirt.
There you go.
In our future. So just, there you go.
A little polyester blend there. Nice. Directly to your point, I don't even know why I said polyester blend. Maybe because I like t-shirts that are polyester blend, but, and those aren't actually good for you, by the way. That's another podcast. Just everyone forget I said that. But we have a newer TikTok account, and I don't really promote this account very much, but we're starting to put some more time into it. And so I never thought I'd be saying this, to be perfectly honest. In my TikTok searching, I've come across fiber maxing. And apparently there is a trend, and if I'm already dated on this, I apologize for all those people that are active TikTok people, but apparently people are maxing out fiber in ways that, are quote unquote fiber maxing. And so this is a trend on TikTok, and I'm not suggesting I need an answer, Michelle, or any comment, but I know that there is an existing trend there. So
fiber maxing? What does that mean? They're consuming as much fiber as possible? I should hope they're drinking tons of fluids to help that pass through. I don't even know how they're doing that. I wonder how much is a lot for them, though. It might just be what they should be consuming, unless it's
there's no formal definition. I think it's just the wild, wild west of I'm fiber maxing. I did X, Y, and Z.
Oh my gosh. I got to go look that up.
It's like they've run out of phrases, and that just sounds cool because of the maxing part. But
right?
Okay. Well, we'll leave that on TikTok.
There you go. Exactly. Well, the depths of TikTok. So let's move over to what I think is a really interesting topic. I'm really excited to get some more information from you on is the core 4 habits of health.
Yes.
I'd love to learn more if you could walk us through what those are.
And the core 4 habits are really basic things that we all can do. And so it's so simple that it might be like, oh, that's it. So the 4 habits are getting enough sleep, consuming more whole foods. So like in nutrition, consuming more whole food nutrition. The third is movement. So getting exercise, because the times we live in now, we are living in the convenience age. So we're not moving our bodies as much as we used to unless we're really intentional about it. So getting exercise, moving your body. And then the fourth is really being mindful of your stress, like managing your stress levels. So stress, sleep, exercise, and nutrition. Those are the core 4 things that you should just be very mindful of in order to live your best life.
I mean, we talk about those 4 things in some way or other, or in going to the rabbit hole especially with sleep.
Yeah, we love a sleep discussion.
What a foundational, as it's the first one you mentioned, but we talk about movement in regards to glucose control and just walking, doing air squats just to stop sitting for such long periods of time. Basic stuff. You don't need to go to the gym for 2 hours. You gotta, you gotta keep it simple. KIS, keep it simple, stupid, and just get some movement. And so I totally agree. And then obviously nutrition and very simple. And we couldn't agree more.
I love that you guys have been having these conversations. I got to go back and watch. I saw you were talking about magnesium. I think I caught the sleep one, but I got to go back and watch more previous episodes.
Well, we love sleep so much. We did a sleep series, and we also have a big sleep guest coming on. He came on already. We have to release that episode. But so, yes, sleep is because foundationally, you could be doing all the things. And if you're not sleeping, you're missing almost everything for all of those things to be effective. So,
all right. Holistic modalities. When I hear this, I think of things, again, nutrition, food is medicine, acupuncture, massage therapy, yoga, meditation. We just talked about sleep and stress. Are these all the things you're talking about? And what's top of mind for you here?
So I work with the science-based holistic modalities. So actually I have a herbalist. I have a physical therapist who's actually a holistic physical therapist because she works with the nervous system. So it's not like going to a typical physical therapist that's going to help you recover from, an injury and they're walking you through. No, she's going deep into your nervous system regulation and all of that. I have people that have natural products. So like natural toothpaste, natural soaps, natural line of products that they've created. I have mental health therapists. I have a stretch company that she's also a physical therapist, but she has her own stretching company. I have people that have products for insulin resistance. I have an alcohol coach who's a part of the network who's helping people learn how to reduce the amount of alcohol that they're drinking. So it's just such a wide variety. And then I have people that are in fitness, like you said, fitness. I have naturopaths. I have a lot of nurse practitioners and that have moved into the wellness space. So that's a big trend that's happening right now. A lot of nurse practitioners and doctors and physician assistants are moving out of traditional medicine and into the wellness space because they're seeing that their patients are not being helped in the system that they're currently in. So I love working with them because just getting them on the track and getting in community with others that have gone before them has been really cool to watch.
That's interesting. I want to ask something because you mentioned this, I think, in the beginning. And so with the networking and obviously the part of it in these events is to promote these brands that you have beliefs in terms of what they're bringing to people. But you also mentioned connection. And I want to kind of talk about that from almost like a mental health and wellness perspective, because I know, especially when we went through COVID, and, I joke that I'm a hermit because I do need a lot of alone time to recharge. but I am social. And I know in general, humans are meant to be social creatures and community-based and rely on one another. And there is a mental health component with being deficient in that area. And so I know obviously the networking has business implications, and also you've got vetted companies that you want people to know about for their own health. But I'm curious to know what you think about connection and community from a mental health and wellness perspective. So I'd love it if you could chat about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think this is such a good and important topic, because one of the reasons I created the community is because that first year, when I left what I was doing and kind of started showcasing other businesses, as I spoke to these businesses, I realized a lot of them were working in silos, working by themselves. And it's different when you work in an office space. You have that community in your fellow employees, right? But when you're working alone and you're going in and serving other people, and in that aspect as an entrepreneur, it is lonely. And so I was like lucky enough to start as an entrepreneur in network marketing, where we were so community focused and we're connected and everyone's helping each other, and I'm helping other people to build a business. And then the people above me are helping me and pouring into us. We had that community. But as I moved out into doing my own thing, I realized how much more lonely it is being a solo entrepreneur. And so one of the things and this is so funny. This is such a great question, Sandy, because literally I had an event yesterday and we did a pickleball social, and I just, I do a lot of networking and socials, but this one I was just like, oh, I just want to have fun with people. That brings another level of connection as you're learning together, because I had never played pickleball before. A lot of people who had never played felt comfortable coming out, learning how to play, but then we also got to connect. And someone who was there, she's a mental health therapist. She works with people around the country. And she said, I really love your events. Like every time I come to something, it's so amazing. There's such great people. And she works from home, so she doesn't really get to connect outside of being intentional to come to spaces like that. And so I'm very mindful. I noticed it very early on when I started working with people that were working by themselves, that need for community. Because I always say this, if we were not meant to live alone, and I'm like you, Sandy, I love people and I love to be in those social environments, but I do need time to decompress and be in silence. So I usually work from home in silence until I have a call or something like that. But it really energizes me to connect with people. And some people are introverts, but even as an introvert, they do love that connection too. They do love to, and it's a big part of the mental piece of what you're doing, because you can only serve so many people, and you have to fill your own cup also. So much, this all ties into that mental part. My first event I ever did, the first person I invited to be a part of the event was a mental health therapist, because we were in the midst of the pandemic. It was 2021, and so many people had been disconnected from other people because of the pandemic. So she was the first person I thought of. And then I went down the line from there. So in my mind, it's super important.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That's great.
All right, everyone. We're going to the lightning round here. And as you know, we have a bunch of questions for Michelle. And the first is, what is your favorite food?
My favorite food, I think, are mangoes. And we're getting mango season. I'm excited.
This is when my allergies pick up. This is not an exciting time for me. Yeah. Mangoes. Okay, cool. TV show everyone should watch.
Lost. I loved Lost. That was my favorite.
It's time.
Or The Office. The Office will get you laughing, and yeah.
Now you're speaking to, that's my music. I am a huge Office guy. I watched that series, and I swear to God, it's like you pick up something new every time. You laugh harder.
It's so funny. I could watch the same episode multiple times and I'm still laughing because it's just hilarious.
Great answer. Favorite musician or song?
I'll say Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson. He's a classic.
This is a little bit, this is probably easy for you, but wellness habit you love?
Exercise. Strength training, especially. That's my thing.
Nice. It's great to hear.
Wait, I have a question for that. You're not doing it just because you should. You actually enjoy it because maybe it's because I have joint issues. I don't love strength training. Do you enjoy it while you're doing it? or you enjoy the benefits?
I think
quick detour.
both. I think I know I need it. And so now I've been doing it for so long, over 20 years of strength training. So I think I'm just like, I got to do it. Like it's a part. And the results also make it better too, to know that, okay, I'm building some more muscle. I'm getting a little bit more cut. So in the beginning, I did not enjoy it though. I will say that, Sandy. If you would have this 20 years ago, that would not have been my response. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Look at
Thanks
Sandy.
for calling me out.
Sandy sabotaged a lightning round. Now I'm going to have to call torrential downpour round. We're getting longer. Here we go. So favorite city or country?
My gosh, that would be Maui.
Second Hawaii. This is the second Hawaii one, right? I think.
Really?
So we had another guest say Hawaii too. A city in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Maui's like heaven on earth.
Okay. I'm down. Best piece of advice you've ever received?
Take time to take it all in. Don't rush through the moment. Yeah, I remember my wedding day and, everything happened so fast. And someone said, take time to look at take time to take it all in and see all the details because otherwise you'll miss a lot. So that was really good advice.
So Michelle, what is your guilty pleasure?
Hot fudge brownie sundae. Oh my goodness. So good.
Yeah, you nailed that one. That is a good one.
That's a touchdown.
It's hard to compete with that.
So that is all we've got. You survived lightning round with a little torrential downpour from Sandy. This was so educational for our listeners and us. Holistic modalities, core 4 habits of health. Simple, but extremely important. Sometimes simple is the way to go, is the best way to go. Fiber, which we can't talk about enough. We've talked about it in many episodes, and we're glad we could take a deep dive here with you on that. And then, of course, we started out with plant food. So we're really grateful, and this is going to be great for our audience to learn more.
Awesome. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed having this conversation.
Well, this was fun, and I'm excited to come to one of your events because A, I want to check them out, and B, because you have such a great energy that I'm excited to meet you in person. So thank you so much for being here.
Well, let's have her promote herself. Where can we find you? Where can we find you? Tell us all about the way people can find you.
So you can find me on Instagram at the Holistic Business Network. That's like the most popular place to find me. But I'm also on LinkedIn as Michelle Fletcher, on Facebook as Michelle Fletcher, South Florida. Also, I have a website, theholisticbusinessnetwork.com.
Okay, we'll put all that in the show notes so everybody can find you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
We hope you enjoyed part 2 of our conversation with Michelle Fletcher. One of the things that we appreciated most about this conversation is that Michelle kept bringing us back to the fundamentals. It's easy to get distracted by the latest health trend, supplement, gadget, or social media hack. But so much of what supports our health comes back to some surprisingly simple things. Eating more whole foods, getting enough fiber, moving our bodies, managing stress, prioritizing sleep, and staying connected to other people. Those ideas might not be flashy, but they're often the habits that make the biggest difference over time. A huge thank you to Michelle Fletcher for joining us and sharing both her expertise and her perspective on what it means to create a healthier lifestyle in a practical and sustainable way. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you'd follow the podcast, leave us a rating or review, and share this episode with someone who's looking to improve their health without getting lost in the noise and overwhelm that often surrounds wellness. And if you'd like to connect with Michelle, we're going to include all of her information in the show notes. Thanks so much for listening to The Health Hunt, and we'll see you next time.